Hey friends and family, Pastor Jonathan Pike here, J48 Ministries. I got to show you something right here. All right, I know you probably think this is a little strange with where I'm sitting, but I want to show you something. Watch this. Watch this. See this? It's a door. You know that. Watch. Don't you wish you knew it was on the other side? You know, I bring that point to you right here because I got to show you something. When probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 years ago, I surrendered my life to the Lord. And I started begging God, literally begging God, all right, to make me a pastor, to use me wherever. And my exact prayer was this, as a matter of fact. It was, Lord, wherever you want me to go, whatever you want me to do, here I am. All right, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm available, I'm excited. Lord, I'm ready. But let me tell you what God did. All right, God didn't just all of a sudden throw this opportunity for me to preach and all these things in my life right there. All right, He didn't do that. I wish He would have, but that ain't how God works. The Bible teaches over and over and over, God is a patient God. What God did is He began opening doors in my life. As a matter of fact, even Paul referenced this. Listen to this. 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 12. He says, "Furthermore, when I came to Troas to preach Christ's gospel, and a door was opened unto me of the Lord." You see that right there? Here's all of a sudden, it took me back when I read this. It took me back to when I surrendered my life and what God did in my life. Let me tell you what God did. God started opening doors of opportunities for me. All right. He didn't just let me go preach. He didn't just all of a sudden make me pastor of a church. Let me tell you what He did do. He began to open doors for me to do things. And one of them was I was at church. Craziest thing ever happened. I was at church sitting on the front row. Never sat on the front row. I always sit kind of middle back. But this particular morning we're sitting there because our children were doing a singing that morning, and my wife Amy, she was getting up there to film, and I was up there helping her and helping them with some of the kids. Well, the head of our association happened to walk in that day. And all of a sudden, I'll go over there and I introduce myself to him. Now, I know who he is. He don't know who I am. And I introduced myself to him, and he says, "Young man, don't I know you?" And I said, "No, sir, but I know you." And I said, "But Pastor, he lets me preach and teach from time to time, just, random, rare occasion." He says, "Get with me after service." And y'all, I didn't hear a single thing the preacher preached the whole service. I was worried and scared to death what he was going to say to me. But what he did was he told me he was starting a class for young preachers. And he wanted me to be there. It was a door. All of a sudden, I go. I'd never tell God no. That's the key. And I'll get to that more in just a moment. But I go. Next thing I know, while I'm there one day, they're talking about this class they're doing, Faith Bible Institute. All of a sudden, I say, "Well, what is it?" And all of a sudden, they go, "You need to go." God opened another door, and here I go, starting that. Next thing I know, I get to preach more at church. A guy comes up to me, he says, "Look, we really love the way you preach and teach. Would you be interested in teaching our Sunday school class?" And now listen, that's not a big deal, except for it was the elders class, y'all. It was the people that should be teaching me, I felt like. They're the ones with all the wisdom and the knowledge. They've been in church way longer than me. I'm thinking they need to be teaching me, not me teaching them. But here's what it was. Another door. Next thing I know, the head of the association, and Brother Aaron McCullough was his name, great man of God. I love Brother Aaron, but he would call me up. "Hey, I want you to go preach here. I want you to go preach there. This church needs you to go preach here and there." I still had my obligation to Sunday school. I would go preach or teach Sunday school, then go preach it, rush to go teach at this church, preach at this church. But each and every time, God was opening a door in my life. And here's what I believe with all my heart now, looking back. They were tests. See, you ask God to do things, to move in your life, to open opportunities in your life. Well, it's kind of like the story of the talents that Jesus taught. God is not going to give you a big thing like you're praying for and you're not even faithful with the little things. Remembering the talents, He gave some of them talents and they multiplied their talents. He gave the one guy the one talent and he went and buried his talent. And He says to the ones that multiplied, He says, because you've been faithful with few, I will make you head over many. And then He tells the one with the few talents that went and hid it, He says, because you couldn't even be faithful with the little, there's no way you can be faithful with the big. And I believe that's what God does in our lives over and over. Same yesterday, today, and forever. He's the same God, right? So here's what He's doing. He's opening doors and opportunities for us. But if you say, God, that ain't what I wanted, God said, well, then you don't really want this ministry. Because let me tell you what I have learned. Ministry is everything, all right? It ain't just getting up on Sunday morning and preaching. It's fixing toilets. It's getting on roofs and helping fix things around the church. It's going to hospitals. It's visiting houses. It's marriage counseling, all right? Even when you're trying to fix things in your marriage at certain times. Ministry is everything, all right? It is not one specific point. It's traveling, missions trips, all right? It's doing things that you might have even said at one time in your life, I'll never do that. Yeah, well, be careful. If like I've always been taught, you want to hear God laugh, tell Him your plans. But my thing is this. God wants to bless you. But what God is going to, just like Paul said, He's going to open doors. If you tell God no, don't expect Him to open another door. Listen to me, God will never send you into a situation where He will not help you, where He will not equip you. All right? I've always said where God guides, God provides. God will equip you and be what you need in that moment. God will never send you out there to be embarrassed. All right? God will equip you. You still need to study. You still need to prep. You still need to get ready. But my point is this. When God opens a door, you go. God has got big plans for our lives. Don't ever tell God no, or that's not what I wanted, God. It's not about what we want. It's all about Him. Listen, if our mentality is, Lord, how can I grow the kingdom? Not me, not my reputation, not my self-fame. God, how can I grow the kingdom? I promise you, God will open doors and opportunities in your life. And one day, one of those doors might be just exactly what you were praying for. Just exactly what you had wanted. Remember, there's a lot of opportunity out there. Love you all. Talk to you soon.